Thursday. I couldn't remember exactly what day it was there. I almost said Wednesday,
Thursday.
but it's Thursday.
Woo! We're one day closer to Friday.
There.
It's Friday Eve. I just feel a second wind when Thursday comes around. I love Thursdays. Woohoo! Okay.
Yes. I was gonna say, I was like,
I'm trying
Thursday
to wake
feels
up.
like it's the drag day. You haven't issues with Tuesdays. Mine is Thursdays.
I think Tuesday is the worst day of the week. I agree.
Yeah. All right. Well, welcome to the big picture.
Hi, I'm Bryn.
And I'm Collin. Got a lot to talk to you about today, so let's take a look at those headlines. The state is ordering a new report into the Siders family, which are those 4 adults charged with that child endangerment case of those 16 children down in Venton County. Also, we expect to hear a rebuttal from the prosecution in the trial of Bruce Foster. He is the man who went in, shot up that warehouse in New Albany last year.
Right. We'll follow that. And we're also talking with Blueprint.
Columbus Water and Power.
Columbus
talking about
Water and
all
Power.
of that
Yes.
rain that we got a couple of weeks ago.
If you live in the downtown area and the second it rains, you can see those sewers start to flood. We talk about the reason behind all that and the work they're doing. And then we're also talking about the Meta lawsuit, $18 billion settled amongst, dozens of states across the country. Ohio was one of them. So we're going to talk about the changes that's going to be coming to these apps and Facebook, Instagram, everything that Meta owns. When it pertains to younger users. So we'll get into all of that within this next hour.
Well, let's talk about Venton County right now. So yesterday, Gary Siders Jr., which is the father of these 16 children, was back in court. He took not guilty pleas in 2 separate cases. The judge continued his bond of $300,000 in the child endangerment case. And as we've also talked, he's facing indictments regarding child sex abuse charges related to another case that goes back to 2022-ish. That is a $250,000 bond. So altogether, he is facing $550,000 in bond money. So he was back there. He pleaded not guilty to those charges in those 2 separate cases. We're still waiting to see the appearances for Elizabeth, Christina, and Gary Sr. in this case. But now that we've gotten this background on these 2 other people who are cousins, sibling, all this, we kind of drew this crazy web of relationship out for you yesterday. But now that we've gotten this and figuring out that this was years in the making, that there were warning signs
since
years
2020.
ago from the public school systems. Obviously, Josh Saunders and Brandon Henderson are also wrapped up in this child sex abuse case.
Yeah.
The questions now coming from the governor himself and other state agencies are, how did this go on so long?
Right.
How did we lose track of these children? We obviously knew about them in 2020 when Gallia County schools were like, hey, these children are falling way behind, and then they disappeared.
Yeah, just to briefly recap everything, we talked for like 16 minutes straight, I think, about the family tree of how all of these people are connected. And again, the schools were reporting back in 2020 concerns about where these children were at when it comes to their level of education. Right. And we know that's when the Gallia County Family Services got involved. And they opened a case. They figured they discussed a plan that the parents would have to implement with their kids. And then that was kind of it. Yep. And then 5 years later, these cases with the county keep opening up. There were reports that they have lead poisoning, 4 of them do. So there were all of these little instances, but it just continued to fall through the cracks. And we spoke to Governor DeWine yesterday about this because, we're looking at 6 years of reporting going on and ultimately nothing happening until this June. This other investigation into other child sex charges led investigators to the house. That one started in December of 2025, and then fast forward to March of this year, which is when investigators then go to this house and they find the 16 kids. Yeah. They weren't even expecting to find June 30th. Yes, excuse me. So it's just been many years of this that we're finding through all these court records, and this is DeWine's response to that.
The magnitude of that tragedy is just unspeakable. It is hard to even envision. When I first heard about it, I was in shock, and I just thought, about those poor kids. we live in a state where every county runs their own children's services. However, what we do at the state level is we've increased the money going to local communities for that, so we've more than doubled the money. But we also, frankly, are watchful in what they do. So whenever there's a tragedy like this, we have an after-action review, which we're in the process of doing, to make sure we understand exactly what happened and who was at fault, and who is responsible. The second is we work with that local children's services to make sure that whatever deficiencies they have, that they begin to deal with those. So that's not completed as far as state is concerned. So I'm not going to comment until that is fully done. But whenever you see a tragedy like this, your first questions are, okay, who knew what? What did they do? What did they not do? And those are kind of the basic questions. And you think about it, your first reaction is, how could this have happened? How in the world in 2026 and 2025 and this period of time in our history, how can that happen? And so we will finish our own report, our own investigation. We'll have more information on that.
And when can we expect that after-action review?
I'll have to check on that, but we want to make sure it's done right. But we'll provide that information.
Before the end of this year?
Yeah.
So really, there's 4 months left, 3 months left, really, because we're almost at the end of August, for the state to get this report put together of where did all of this go wrong? How did we get to this point? And up until really these last few days, we still had huge amounts of questions regarding this case, how we got here, because if you go back, we still have 2 specials up on our podcast channel. If you go back, they're 2 bonus episodes, but it is The Hidden Children of Omer Street, or on Omer Street. Both of those are really peeks into what we knew early about this case. And you're going to find, if you go back and listen to those, it's us going a lot of like, wait,
hold on,
how is this possible?
Right.
All of this, because up until all of these new documents and some of these indictments came out late last week, there were a lot of holes that were like, wait.
And gag orders.
Because there were questions about, what kind of attention and, what kind of welfare was being provided.
Right.
How are we feeding these kids? And now we've got all these documentation.
When you hear 16 kids found in this house, some of them have to be hospitalized because they're so unwell. Yeah. Governor DeWine's correct. There's a lot of questions about who knew what was being done, et cetera. So those old episodes, they do have some holes in them, but as we said in those episodes, we were gonna keep pushing and trying to learn more about this situation, and that review will be telling.
And the 4 family members, the 2 parents and the grandparents, were ordered to undergo mental health evaluation. So still kind of waiting on the outcomes of all of that. But all right.
Okay,
so
let's switch
other
gears.
court.
We are going to Licking County now. This is a look at
the
courtroom.
Tell me
where
what sorts
day
of observations
4
you made with
Bruce
regard to
Foster
his
trial
mental health as
is
opposed to
underway.
his
So we
physical
will tap
health.
into that.
So there were a number
First, we'll talk
of
about what
observations
happened in court yesterday.
Yeah. So yesterday is where we saw the doctor testify as part of Foster's defense team, basically saying that at the time, Bruce Foster had fell into a state of psychosis in his 20s, believing that his friends, family members, co-workers, all of these other people were in this a mafia-style situation and were out to kill him. So the doctor was saying that at the time of this shooting, Foster believed he was in like a kill or be killed situation.
Yeah. It's yes. So just another reminder too. His attorney has not questioned that
Foster is the one who did it.
Foster is the one who did it.
Yeah.
This whole bench trial is happening because they're trying to look at his mental culpability.
Facilities,
Yes, with all of it. So here's Lacey's story from yesterday.
Briefly, what is your opinion?
So in summary, it was my opinion that at the time of the offenses charged, Mr. Foster had a severe mental disease, and because of that severe mental disease, he did not know the wrongfulness of the acts that he committed.
Dr. Bob Stinson interviewed Foster 2 different times, once shortly after the shooting before he was medicated, then months later after Stinson says Foster's mind had somewhat cleared. Stinson explained in his 20s, Foster became psychotic and had a tangled web of thoughts of family, coworkers, and the police were all part of the mafia and were out to kill him. Stinson argued Foster thought he was acting in self-defense in a kill or be killed situation.
At the time of the offenses, He believed Kyle and a couple other people who worked at his place of employment had infiltrated his work and had developed a plan to hang him that evening, and his death was imminent.
The doctor said Foster suffered from severe mental illness at the time of the shooting and thinks the coworkers he shot were plotting to kill him. Prosecutors questioned the expert on whether Foster had a substance abuse disorder or if he understood the shooting was wrong.
So he knew that he had a gun.
Correct.
He knew that that gun had bullets.
Correct.
He knew that bullets could kill people.
Yes.
So he knew that if he was shooting at a person running away, that bullet may hit them.
Sure.
Okay. And he said that he understood that murder is a crime.
Yes.
Lacey Crisp, 10 TV News.
Feel comfortable enough in order before.
So right now you are listening into the
when you're
trial
doing
that's happening
an evaluation, there's
or
probably
right now
a
you're
very
hearing from
standard
Dr. John
battery
Tilley.
of things that you have to
He's
go
one of
through.
the witnesses taking the stand today.
Were you confined by that
according
the
to
first
Lacey
time you
Crisp, who's
talked to
there in
them,
the
or
courtroom,
did you
she
follow that
says
at all?
there will probably be a rebuttal doctor as well from the state coming to the stand today. But yeah, so I asked her too earlier if she thinks this is going to resume faster than we initially thought. We thought maybe 2 weeks. I mean, 60 witnesses, that's a lot to get through. And she said, doesn't look like it. There's still a lot that they have to get through when it comes to this. So we're going to keep following the story, of course, throughout the week. Okay.
All right, coming up next, we are talking about all of that heavy rain that we've gotten over the last couple of weeks. Certainly ground saturated. Lot of damage from that all across the city of Columbus. But coming up, how the city of Columbus is using everything from rain gardens to sewer improvements to improve how and where that water goes.
I'm Tracy Townsend, anchor at 10 TV News this morning. My goal is simple: help you feel informed and connected. Because when news moves fast, you need a team that moves with you. Make the move to 10 TV News this morning, weekdays from 5 to 9, anywhere you watch.
Welcome back to The Big Picture. It's 9:14 on your Thursday. Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm Collin. She's Bryn. Right now, we are joined by Cameron Kier with Blueprint Columbus.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
So, looking back at the last couple of weeks,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, just flooded out, drowned practically.
Yes,
when it
so
comes
crazy.
to some of the work that Blueprint Columbus is doing, obviously you guys are not a flood mitigation program,
Correct.
but it does kind of fall into your wheelhouse. Especially,
Absolutely.
you guys have a sump pump program as well that kind
Yes.
of ties into all of this.
Everything ties together. So Blueprint is part of what we call a larger layer cake approach from Columbus Water and Power. Our main goal is twofold. It's reducing what we call sanitary sewer overflows. That's a very big way to say we want to prevent untreated stormwater from entering our rivers and streams. The other thing that we do is clean and treat the stormwater runoff at the source in the neighborhoods to reduce pollution. And that's done through our rain gardens, our pervious paver streets, and our regional system overall.
And looking at the flooding that happened recently, were there certain neighborhoods that you guys are really working on right now?
There are.
What are they?
Blueprint works in neighborhoods where we have a separated sewer system. So pretty much anything, kind of near downtown, Ohio State, German Village, that's still on our oldest combined sewer system. So our program doesn't work as effectively there. We're in the Hilltop, Linden, Clintonville was our first area actually. We're on the Near East Side off the Livingston Avenue corridor in areas where we have seen this issue kind of continually show up.
And Blueprint is now in its 10th year.
Correct.
In the city of Columbus.
Actually, this year is our 10th anniversary.
Yay, congrats.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So when it comes to looking back at the past 10 years, some of the program initiatives, have we seen progress? Have we seen improvement? In the city?
have. We're very excited for that. We have seen scientifically proven progress, actually. We partnered with the Ohio State University to study our basins in the Clintonville neighborhood, our first neighborhood that came online. And what we found is that they work very well both at the source and together. And when we look at even our larger basins, one of our largest basins is in Whetstone Park, behind the Park of Roses. And that is really able to take a significant amount of pollution out of the water. On the other end of things, when we are able to rehabilitate our sewer system through our lateral lining program, which goes into the existing pipe and kind of puts a new pipe in that old pipe, that helps us reduce the amount of rainwater that gets into our sanitary system incredibly well.
Yeah,
So-
and
Yeah.
I have one of these those catch basin gardens that
Yes.
is part of this at the end of my street, because I remember when it was put in, I'm like, why are we just putting a pit at the end of the street? But now it's
They look a little different under
Now you know
construction,
why.
right?
And now that it's been there a bit, you've got these beautiful flowers and stuff, and it has turned into like a really pretty garden. But that also plays into this filtering out some of the pollution.
That's right. So the plants that we put in are all native to Ohio, and their primary goal is to work with our very scientific, fancy biossoil, which is and all of our root systems and our underground aggregate systems, to take that pollution out through the rain garden and put it. The water coming out at the other end is cleaner. So when we think about that pollution, it's a lot of the car wash soaps, the fertilizer nitrates, oils, and anything off the ground in kind of that small form, but also leaves and trash and other things that might just kind of be unfortunately in a neighborhood will get caught by our basins and then removed when we keep them up. So yeah.
Yeah. And you guys also help with sub pump installations, but this has been a really popular program.
Oh,
so
yes.
talk to us about where you guys are at with that, with the wait list and everything.
So our sump pumps is an incredibly popular program. We're so happy that we can do this. If you are listening and thinking about this and saying, gosh, I don't have a sump pump right now, blueprintneighborhoods.com is our website, blueprintneighborhoods.com. We have an interactive map there, and we have a sign-up form where you can search and see if you are in one of our neighborhoods. By having an address in one of our neighborhoods, you qualify for our sump pump program. The program for us is aimed at keeping the water that's near your house's foundation out of our sanitary system. So it's not a complete flooding mitigation measure, but for our residents, obviously, a very secondary benefit to that is a drier basement.
Right, because a lot of older homes,
Absolutely.
all of those floor drains also just tie into the sanitary system.
The sanitary
so if we
system.
can pump the clean water in the basement out of the ground, helps you guys long run.
Yeah. So we do have a wait list. Depending on the neighborhood, it can get up there a few months, approaching 1 year. We've had an incredible positive response to this program. We wish we could work so much faster, but we do have our neighborhoods kind of set in order, and we start construction in those neighborhoods, on the sump pump side, as we do with our other pillars of our program.
Oh, I got the map pulled up.
There you go.
Look how
Look
cool
at that.
This is.
Right.
So this is a great resource if you
So-
want to check out the Blueprint's work.
And you can search any of the addresses there. Our program areas, project areas are lined out, and everything shows up to show you exactly what you can expect as we get closer to construction too.
Okay,
So what else can
very
folks
cool.
in the city of Columbus expect coming up?
The next 10 years we still have work to do. We have project areas that will be under construction all the way to the deadline to meet our consent orders, which is 2045. So we have a lot more work to do, and we just hope that they're going to see a difference both in the neighborhood and holistically as we continue our program.
All right, Cameron, thanks so much.
Thanks
Thank
so
you
much.
so much for coming in. Great work.
We appreciate it.
All righty. Well, coming up next, we are talking about this John Husted political ad that's trending online. A lot of people are talking about it. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
I'm Jeff Hogan. I've been a journalist at 10 TV for more than 20 years. I don't just report about our community, I belong to it. And that's why we care so deeply about getting it right. And when local journalism is done right, it moves. It moves you to act, to speak up, or lend a hand. And yes, it moves your heart through the kind of human storytelling that stays with you wherever you are. And at 10 TV, we're here for all of it. These are the stories that move Central Ohio.
All right. Welcome back to The Big Picture. Whoa, I just blew out my eardrum. Happy Thursday. It's 9:30.
They are.
No, it's
a
9:20.
They are a touchy volume control.
They
here.
really are. Okay. Well, this next story, it kind of hits home here at 10 TV. In this political ad, my voice was used, and so was our Carla Rogner's as well. But the synopsis, the big picture of what we're about to talk about for the next couple of minutes is a grieving Ohio family says their tragedy is being turned into a political message without their consent.
Right.
And so we want to start from the beginning of this story, and it takes us back to April 11th of this year.
And this is that crash that a lot of you probably remember. It closed down lanes of I-71 for hours. So this happened there just near the 3637 interchange, really by the Tanger outlets there in Delaware County. A family of 3 was killed in this crash. 3 other people were hurt. We know this was caused by a semi-truck driver who we now know is 50-year-old Modou Ngam of Columbus. He's been charged with vehicular homicide. He also currently faces a wrongful death lawsuit and a federal investigation that later found that there are some conflicting issues with his legal status.
Right. So the victims, let's talk about them. So Leanna and Luke, they were a married couple, and they were in the car with their 1-year-old son, Logan Saposky. They were the 3 that lost their lives in this really tragic incident. So in a statement, we learned that this family of 3 that has passed away in this tragic situation, they said that a photo of them is being used in a John Husted campaign ad supporting Husted's campaign, and this was without the consent of the family or the photographer who took the photo.
Right, and this photo has been, or this political ad has been circulated widely on, it's mostly on streaming is where I saw it. It was like in Hulu, Netflix, YouTube ads.
Right. So the ad targets Democrat Sherrod Brown. That's the main thing, who was running against John Husted, Democrat versus Republican there. And it was paid by the National Republican Senatorial Committee, and it was authorized by Husted's campaign. And again, it connects basically all of that to this horrible, deadly crash that happened.
It's the ad, which once again is not Husted's ad. It is paid for by a committee, a Republican-backed committee. This ad is trying to draw the line between this deadly crash of a man who has it's connecting immigration, Sherrod Brown's immigration policies of when he was in the Senate for years to this crash. It's basically trying to blame Sherrod Brown for this accident happening.
Right. And again, the family says, we're going to play the ad in a second, but the family says that this PAC did not have the permission to use this photo. And the Saposky family, I mean, since we've been covering this whole crash since April, I mean, they've been relatively private. They're still grieving. They're still dealing with this. I'm going to play part of the ad so everyone can understand.
And if you are new to political ads, which I don't think anybody is,
that's the photo.
in this day and age, they'll clip things, and that's how we often get tied into these, is because all of these different committees, they watch the newscasts and they can clip little sentences out and make us say things that we didn't say.
Right.
And that's how you and Carla Rogner ended up in this. I think Colleen Marshall over at Channel 4 is in there too.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch any of these ads on TV, I mean, they pull people from all over the markets, from Cleveland all the way down to Dayton and Cincinnati.
It's actually impressive.
Honestly,
I mean,
it takes a lot of work.
How are you paying attention to Columbus and Youngstown?
Right. So again, the family is now speaking out because they did not give permission for this photo to be used. And the family says this isn't about supporting either political party or taking a position on immigration at all.
Right.
And the family says they reached out to Husted's office privately before they went public with all of this, asking them to take it down. But obviously,
it was still out there.
It was still out there. The Husted campaign, they have not commented on this, but we know the PAC that did pay for this ad, they said they have since taken it down. It kind of lives online, as all things do today, but they've stopped running the ad, they say, on Wednesday.
Right, and we talked to Linnea Saposky's brother, Jesse Mallon, who has really been kind of the spokesperson at this point for the family about this whole situation. And really, so the photo that's used was a professionally taken photograph, and the photographer who took that photo also didn't give that permission.
Yeah.
I want them to be remembered for the beloved members of the community that they were.
And then there's that ad again.
So really the family's message is, don't turn our grief and our loved ones into some sort of political message, political weapon during this political season. So once again, going back to that crash, investigators say that semi driven by Modou Ngam, which we have been to multiple of these hearings, failed to stop in that backed up traffic. There was already a primary incident, construction, that had traffic slowed that day.
I mean, the whole area is just full of construction.
Yeah. Driving through that whole Sunbury exit is a nightmare all the time. Ngam was later indicted on 3 counts of an aggravated vehicular homicide, 4 counts of vehicular assault, has not pleaded guilty. The immigration thing is where this comes into.
This is where it gets tricky, because DHS has told the New York Times that Neom, he became a naturalized citizen in the United States in 2015. So there was a lot of conversation around whether he was a legal immigrant. Again, all of that's still pending. We don't have a lot of answers on the immigration side of things, but we know he's, not indicted on any immigration charges.
Right. And as for the run of this ad, a source within the ad buying industry, there's a behind the scenes source who we've been citing off the record, not named, is that this ad has completed its run. So basically, all of this. It's not airing because the family doesn't want to. It's airing because the ad buy is done.
That's according to
this source.
So, that's kind of where that's at.
Right.
My heart still breaks for that family. That's still grieving. April wasn't that long ago, but it's political ad season, and
it is. They'll just continue to ramp up. There's a couple on there that we were talking about before. There's a gubernatorial ad right now that if you dig into it, there's a lot of misleading information in there about some accusations that if you look into them are not accurate.
That's why it's so important around election season. You have to do your own research, read both sides of everything.
Right.
Don't just listen to those ads. So, okay. Well, coming up, there's some big changes coming to how young users use social media. We're talking about Instagram and Facebook. And we're talking about a big chunk of money as well. That's a part of the settlement, and Ohio gets some of it.
Right.
We'll explain all of this coming up.
Not every weather impact day is dangerous, but plenty are inconvenient. That's where our weather impact team comes in with the details that matter the most. Live, local, whenever you need it. No waiting, no guesswork. Stay in the know and be prepared with 10 TV.
It's 9:32 on your Thursday. We are talking social media here on the big picture, and it's hard to avoid these days. I think I probably first joined Facebook in 2010.
Got two phones. We always have two phones with us. It's crazy. Yeah. I'm so over social media.
And it's hard to get away, because especially with our jobs, you are basically required to be on social media all the time, whether that be finding information. So many municipalities post stuff to it now anyway.
Social media stresses me out as an adult, so I can't even imagine.
It's also stressing out the kids.
How this younger generation feels, especially while being in school and kids are mean, there's bullies, all of that. Just being exposed to so much.
Which is
just as their brains are still developing. We're going to get into the statistics that we're finding out.
Which is why this whole background of this massive lawsuit against Meta, which is the parent company of Facebook, Instagram.
So basically, over 29 states, I can't remember the exact number, there was a settlement agreement reached on Wednesday, and it was for $18 billion. Yeah. So Ohio gets a chunk of this.
Right.
All the states that were a part of it get a little piece. Yeah. But we know in Ohio, according to A.G. Wilson, that Ohio gets $319 million over the next decade.
Right.
So
what?
What's the math?
Yeah, $31 million over the next 10 years, each year for the next 10 years, basically.
So that money, that's a big chunk of money. But the reason why we're talking about all this, because Meta has denied any wrongdoing, but the stipulation in all this settlement, besides having to fork over a lot of money, there's rules that need to be changed when it comes to usership.
Right. There's a 2-hour default time on the apps. So basically, for kids who are using this, it's going to boot you off.
Wait,
after
I'm
going to
read them all because
I was time. You got them written down.
Let me pull up my notes. So basically, there's going to be a hard cap, daily limits on productive pauses for children. That's what this is called. So it's for two platforms, Instagram and Facebook, and it'll be a combined 2-hour daily time limit with mandatory pauses after 15 minutes of continuous use, and again at 60 and 90 minutes to interrupt endless scrolling. And we've talked about this before. The doom scrolling. I even fall victim to it. I have to.
All
it's
of
crazy.
A sudden, it's an hour later.
Literally, I'm in bed at night and I'm like, I need my 15 minutes of scroll time, and it's just sad. Yeah. That's where we're at as
a society. That 15 minutes turn into much longer.
That's the problem. So that hard cap will be interesting to see how that ends up being enforced. And then there's also going to be nighttime blocks, which is restricting children's access from 12 to 6 a.m. So get some shut-eye. Don't be scrolling through the night.
Yeah.
Then push notifications. That will be
basically blocked during the school, regular school
from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. during the school day. I'm not a teacher, obviously, in those school systems right now, but I mean, it's tough for them.
Well, and this year we know that Ohio put in the cell phone ban. Like, kids won't have it. I've known teachers within CCS who are like, I'm doing my best to enforce it. Like,
right. So then there's also safer and age-appropriate content controls, including safer safeguards against bullying and content that may promote harmful behavior. And then there's also going to be stronger, more user-friendly parental controls. Do you know how many times I have, like, people think because we work in news, like, I'm a social media expert. Yeah. I wouldn't call myself that. I would just say journalist. But my friends that have kids are always like, how do I change this on Facebook and whatever? It's kind of complicated to navigate a little bit if you're not like a parent actively, following social media or on the app yourself. So I think that should be helpful. And then there's also going to be disabling of social comparison features. And we're talking about filters. So we've all seen the filters. They can make your skin look perfect, your eyes big and wide. Those are no longer going to be able to be used for children. And that's
those are
that's basically it.
Really it. And now
the caveat to all of this is that
it might not happen.
It may not happen.
It's still pretty much hung up in the courts. This still has to go through some judicial review. However, these could get even stricter. And really the application of these also hinges on, obviously this whole thing is surrounding Meta, but a lot of this hinges around those other platforms as well. When we're talking about TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, these others that are not under the Meta umbrella, they kind of have to agree to them as well for any of this to hold water. And looking at some of this lawsuit, if they agree to it, well, some of these restrictions get even tighter.
Right.
That 2-hour default on-app time drops to 1 hour. The amount of money that Meta has to pay, which is, we said, $17.1 billion, goes up. This is all really hinging on the industry as a whole making a rapid change.
I have a question for you. When you are doom scrolling at night, if you do participate, are you on TikTok or are you on Instagram Reels?
I used to be a TikToker, and now I've become an Instagram Reelser.
Okay.
Because when everybody migrated off TikTok, when TikTok got shut down, all of us just moved to Instagram Reels.
Well, yeah, for sure. Well, we spoke to a Case Western professor about this and just the impacts that science is seeing, all this exposure to so much content on social media, the impact it's having on our youth.
It's reinforcing all the things that teenagers and kids are worried about. More attention is paid to negative things. They're checking to see if they're missing out. They're carrying around sort of a social critique in their pocket. And as humans, we weren't designed to have that amount of feedback on our social standing that frequently.
I love what she said here. It's like carrying around a social critique in your pocket.
Yeah.
That is the perfect way to put it. Everyone feels an element of keeping up,
Yeah. And that has certainly affected the mental health of teens. The American Psychological Association reports 41% of teens with the highest social media use, I mean, basically connected all the time, are reporting their mental health overall being poor to very poor.
Right.
So 41%, not quite half, but it's a lot.
That's still a big percentage. And then on average, this the American Psychological Association found that teenagers are using about 5 hours of their day, 4.8 hours. On social media, which is a big chunk of the
only
day.
23% are spending 2 hours or fewer.
Right. And then 60% of the highest frequency social media users they're reporting like low parental monitoring in relationships with their parents. So interesting facts there. I mean, it'll be really interesting to see how the judicial process moves forward with implementing all of this and what actually happens.
Yeah.
Because like we said, could just not happen.
And it's so hard it's now become so ingrained in everybody's day-to-day life, because I mean, when we were, we were in the, when we were the kids, like the age of these kids we're talking about, we were really in the infancy of the social media era. Like MySpace was on its way out. Facebook was kind of new.
Yeah.
But at that time, our parents didn't have it because our parents, this whole technology was new to our parents. But now, like, these kids are on it. Their parents are our age.
Right.
And it's really, it's a different time.
It is. And I mean, social media and just the internet in general is a part of these now teenagers' lives just from such an early age when it comes to iPods and things like that. I think about back to like high school. I got an iPhone, I think like my freshman year, But even then, like the app scene wasn't really much.
Yeah.
You could listen to music.
I
think that's when
flip phone until 2019.
Colin, that's crazy. 2019?
Yeah, too cheap for the data plan.
Oh my gosh. No, I love a flip phone though, because you can just smash it down and
Spent so much less time on
yeah.
my phone.
Well, maybe more kids need to go to flip phones.
Do it. We
That's
see
an
parents
idea.
bringing back landlines
Yeah.
for the sole purpose of keeping their kids off the internet and
Yeah.
disconnected. So,
Okay,
all right.
so that's just a big conversation talker. We've talked about a lot on the big
Of
picture.
course
And again,
there's-
Meta denies any wrongdoing.
Right. There's a greater breakdown on 10tv.com, so you can find that story there. But coming up next, a big event, a massive event bringing in thousands of people and thousands of dollars in spending to the local economy is coming to Columbus, really beginning next week. We are talking about the Gay Softball World Series.
I'm Bryn, traffic anchor for 10TV News this morning. My mission is simple, to help you get to where you're going quickly and safely. Because when your morning's on the move, so are we. Make the move to 10TV News this morning, anywhere you watch.
9:43. Welcome back. I'm Collin. She's Bryn. Right now, we are joined by Brittany Razik. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
You are the executive director for the Gay Softball World Series and board member for the Columbus Lesbian and Gay Softball Association.
I am the assistant executive director. Dallas Aldridge is the executive director, and so I don't want to take that away from him. But yes, thank you for having me here today.
So we've got a huge event coming into Columbus, really kicking off. Starts with things on Sunday, but then the opening ceremonies are Monday. And we're not just talking about a little event. We're talking thousands of people from all over the country coming into Columbus for really this huge softball series.
That's right. It's actually the largest single sport LGBTQ event in the world. And we're expecting over 4,500 athletes. And from 29 cities, we have 58 member cities in our organization and 2 provinces, Canada. So it's international, which is also really cool.
And this year's set to be, the largest, right?
Over 260 teams.
Okay, and this is the 4th year
That's
we're
right.
having it here in Columbus. Why do you think everyone wants to keep coming back here for this?
We make people feel at home. It's the community. I don't think it's just the sport. We have really great facilities at Berliner. We're really grateful for what the city has done to get us up to this point to be able to play next week. But it's our community. It's what we have to offer here. People feel safe and welcomed.
And we've seen that response from some of the city leadership as well. I know City Attorney Zach Klein posted something yesterday or the day before, basically being like, you are welcome here. We are a city that wants to welcome this event into that. And you do hear that from people who come from outside into Columbus, whether that be for, I know Stonewall had the national tournament here last year, and that has been, kind of the theme from people who come in here is they're like, wow, we didn't expect this. We came here and found out this is a really great place to play.
I think people that are gay across the country, they don't realize always how big that community is here in Columbus and how accepted it is.
I would agree. I think that's one of the things that our host committee has really focused on, and wanting to make sure we share with folks that they will have access to resources while they're here if they don't feel safe. But from our elected officials at the city and county level, that's why we had the letters written by them to show our support for our trans, non-binary folks who may not have otherwise felt safe coming.
Yeah, and kind of looking at the week ahead for this whole thing, what can people expect?
It's going to be fun. Come out and watch us. We have over 1,100 games scheduled, all different types of people, all different skill levels. We have great artists and entertainment that will be here, and a lot of our events don't cost anything. So it's going to be a good time to be in the community.
Yeah, and you've played in the local league now for 14 years?
That's right.
Wow. How's that been? Because I played in the kickball league, but obviously I know the softball league, y'all are competitive.
Sounds like kickball was competitive too, Collin.
Yeah, I broke my knee, but
after what you went through.
Kickball's harder than you think as an adult.
Any sport is. That's why I don't participate.
It's good. I started our team with my wife, so that's been really awesome. And we've really grown over the years. Now our friends have kids of their own, and how it's evolved. And now we just get a little bit more upset when we lose and we want to fly instead of drive, things like that. But it's been great to be part of something, especially because our league reached the 40th anniversary this year. Yeah. And so 1986 wasn't too long ago. and to realize how far we've come.
And there's other events happening, trivia, bingo. I mean, there's a drag show at some point. Talk to us about some of these other things happening off the field.
Yes, so Tuesday night is a charity night. And so we are going to be going around to several different bars and restaurants and places throughout the city of Columbus. All of our proceeds will go to Kaleidoscope. And we even have a sober space for folks who may not feel comfortable in a bar setting. And that's actually going to be at the Little Gay Bookstore and Queer Bean Coffee and Tea. So folks can have all different types of environments. We have Pride Night at the Clippers game on Wednesday. Tickets are still available. They also have a Pride hat that you can get for an extra $10 for the ticket. And we're going to have the Flaggets performing there pre-game. Gosh, we have so many things.
Right, and you can find that full order of events and
Right.
all things about this at gaysoftballworldseries.com.
That's right.
Little something for everyone, though, for sure.
Absolutely, and this is all down at Berliner, and the city getting this park back into playable condition, it was really a Herculean feat because we've got how many thousands of games to get through?
About 1,100 scheduled.
That's so many. So how is Berliner?
It's getting better. We're using every day that we can. And if it wasn't for the city and folks at CRPD with literal boots on the ground and the electricians and everybody else, it wouldn't be possible. So we're very fortunate to have the folks we have here in Columbus.
Wonderful.
Anything else before we need to know before all this gets underway?
It's a really special event, so everyone should come be part of it. It's a happy, feel-good time. People take the week off. We don't get paid for it. We do it because we love it. Yeah. So come join us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so
We
much.
appreciate
Thank you for
coming
having
in.
me.
All right, coming up next, we are talking about the Columbus Comedy Fest. That kicks off today. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
I'm Yolanda Harris. I'm a journalist at 10 TV News. I don't just report about our community, I belong to it. And that's why we care so deeply about getting it right. And when local journalism is done right, it moves. It moves you to act, to verify, to volunteer. And yes, it moves your heart through the kind of human storytelling that stays with you wherever you are. And at 10 TV, we're here for all of it. These are the stories that move Central Ohio.
Hey, welcome back to The Big Picture. Sorry, I hit the other stinger. I like keeping you on your toes.
Yeah, I've got to pay attention.
Woo.
But yeah,
we come, those 2-minute breaks, man, they come fast.
Yeah. But,
well, today's the official kickoff of the Columbus Comedy Fest, and this is a big deal for Columbus. I mean, I think Columbus has a pretty solid comedy scene. It's definitely growing, and this is a really great opportunity for not only for like local talent. Well, it is great for local talent to really just get exposure, but also it's a fun way to bring in international guests back like Nina West.
And I know that it's like there's been some collaboration between local businesses in these places. So it's like I know for the long time, like Old Town Tavern, if you took your receipt across the street to the attic, you got a free admission ticket.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, everybody's working together.
Well, we talked to the organizers yesterday. Here's a little bit of that. Joining us right now, we have Walker Evans, the co-founder of the Columbus Comedy Festival, and we also have Hannah Romes, the co-owner of #Comedy Company. Thank you so much for joining us today. This fest kicks off tomorrow.
Yeah.
Can you believe it? It's already back.
It flew up really fast.
For someone watching who's not familiar with the festival, what can they expect when everything kicks off tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, it's all over the city. We have 9 different venues activated, for 4 days, a whole weekend of comedy. There's stand-up, improv, sketch, variety shows, puppet show, clean comedy, a little bit of everything for everyone, I think.
Yeah.
And there are more than 100 performers taking part in all of this. 60 shows in 4 days. This is a jam-packed schedule. How much has it grown, really, in just 3 years?
I mean, the first year we saw great records, just as far as like being an independent venue. And since then, this is our 3rd year. It just keeps on growing and growing. And I think the support from the general public has just come out in waves, which has been great.
Yeah, and you guys have some major guests this year. Nina West, for one. Who are you guys really excited about?
That big kickoff show on Thursday with Nina is going to be really great at the Southern Theater. Tickets are almost sold out to that show, so that one's going to be a great kickoff.
Yeah, we have at we have 12 different shows this week, which is 3 or 4 times more than we normally do in a week. And we have a few different local or national like improvisers and sketch groups coming through too. So we're kind of showcasing our normal talent as well as bringing in some special guests from all over the country.
And do you think that Columbus's comedy scene is kind of not to say a well-kept secret, but it's not one that you hear a lot about, but there's a ton that goes on.
Absolutely. There's easily like a few hundred performers in Columbus that are performing every single week. And it really is, I think, Columbus's best kept secret. There's a lot of venues and producers that run shows. There's plenty of times to see comedy even outside of the festival. But if you're looking for a time to check it out and kind of see everything the city has to offer, this week is a really great opportunity to do that.
And when we're talking about local comedians here in Columbus, how important is it to give them this stage and this exposure of this festival this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like kind of the local music scene. You know, you want to support live entertainers and have them pursue their passion, and something that could even lead to like a full-time creative career. So for us, it's a great opportunity to have the public that might not normally seek this kind of entertainment out just sort of drink from the fire hose, discover their new favorite, and then come back, to Hashtag or the Attic or Don't Tell, the Nest year round, and keep supporting them.
And I mean, you mentioned that it could be the opportunity for that leg up into a larger national career. I mean, Nina West is a great example of that. She's just about to wrap up a run in a kind of a parody comedy play of
she's
Oh Mary.
so
funny. So it's that's going to be great. But where was I going with that? Anyway, some of these shows are already close to selling out. As you mentioned, that one at the Southern Theater. When it comes to getting tickets, where do people go? How do we find out about what's all coming to Columbus?
Yeah, I mean, you can go to our website, columbuscomedyfest.com. All of the tickets across all the venues are there, or you can go to the individual venue websites, like Hashtag's website, and find all of that. The tickets are all a la carte. You don't have to buy like an expensive $500 festival pass or anything. You can just pick and choose shows. There's a few that are free. Some are only $5, $10. Others are a little more expensive, but it's kind of a choose your own adventure sort of thing. Yeah.
Talk to us about the open mic on Friday.
Yeah.
What is that like for people who may not be familiar with open mics?
Yeah, absolutely. Hashtag Comedy Club in the Short North has an open mic every single Friday at 10:30, 10:40-ish, depending on when the previous show wraps up. I'm one of the co-hosts along with Zach Harley, who's a great comedian locally, but he tours as well. We normally have like 20 to 30 performers come through. It's really rapid fire 3-minute sets. And the festival's a really great one to always come see because there's a lot of people who are headlining shows out of town stopping by. So again, if you're looking for maybe some live comedy and you watch it online, this week is a great time to actually, experience that for yourself.
Right. How did you fall in love with comedy? How did you get into all this? And I'll ask you the question after that.
Sure. I've been doing improv and stand-up for about 10 years for improv, and I fell in love with it immediately. I'm a theater kid at heart, and it's been a great way to like make friends, meet people, and just kind of express, my creativity in a whole different way. I do this show called Meemaw's House where I dress up like my Appalachian grandma and my friend's a possum puppet, and it's kind of like Pee-wee's Playhouse. There's like characters that come stop by. That show's going to be on Saturday at Hashtag Comedy Club. But there's always different fun things to do. I hand out Werther's Originals to the crowd. I could go on about it. I'll stop.
So fun.
It's very wholesome and sweet, and I love it. But it's not kid friendly, so don't bring your kids.
No kids.
As we know, Meemaw can be a little wild.
Yeah, Meemaws can get crazy. Yeah. So how did you fall in love with comedy?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a performer, but I've loved attending shows and supporting shows. My wife, Ann, and I, who's the other co-founder of the festival, I mean, we started going out to shows when we were first dating 25 years ago, and just loved the scene. And it's really loved watching it grow because, 20 years ago, you could go to the Funny Bone or maybe like a big show at a theater downtown, and that was really about it, other than a handful of open mics. But now we have the Nest, Attic, Hashtag, there's a ton of pop-up events like all over the city. So if you like comedy, there's never been a better time just to go out on like a Wednesday night and catch a cool $10 show popping up in like an art gallery, stuff like that.
Because I'm trying to think, because I was like, I knew where Hashtag was, obviously the Funny Bone at Easton, and then there's the one that I can't think of the name that's there in Old Town East.
Yeah, so that's the Attic
Comedy
Attic
Club.
Yeah,
I was like,
a couple years
I can
ago.
see exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I knew it was a newer one.
They're one of our venue partners. They did just suffer some damage from some of the storms the other day. It kind of blew their roof open and water came into the venue. So
oh my gosh.
They're closed for renovations in their original space, but the owners also own several other restaurants, including the Walrus downtown. And so all of their shows have moved over there, kind of a pop-up comedy venue. So they haven't had to cancel. The show must go on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what is it like, organizing this feat? I mean, this is a big project. Did you start last year once, last year ended?
It's kind of turned into a bit of a year-round thing. I mean, you take a couple, hopefully you take a couple weeks down to like relax and recharge a little bit.
Yeah, I think every single year we're obviously like doing shows every single weekend, but the festival is 12 shows at least every single, like, for the festival. So it is definitely like, just like turning everything up to level 10, which is always really fun. And we definitely see an uptick in people who have never been to our venue before coming to more shows, which has been really great for the venue and just the community as a whole. There's a lot of people that take our improv classes because they came to a show during the festival and then they're like, oh, I kind of like want to try this for myself. So that's been kind of cool to see it grow over the years.
Have you ever seen somebody try to run the full list? Like try to do them all?
I mean, we have some concurrent shows, so
okay, so not possible.
Yeah. But I mean, we do have people that come to a lot, over the 4 days. You see some of the familiar faces. Something new we're introducing this year is a comedy passport. So whichever venue you start at, you get to pick up a card. You take it around all the venues and get stamped. So the more venues you go to, the more stamps you collect. And then at the end of the week, you turn it in for prizes that include stickers, tickets to future shows, some pint glasses that we just had dropped off yesterday. So kind of gamifying and making it fun to go to a place you've never been before.
Alrighty, well, that was a happy way to end the show today.
Yeah, and so, I mean, really, there's a lot going on.
So much,
for the
especially with
next
the
few
softball
days.
event happening
Right.
this next week. I
Yeah,
mean, there's going to
it's
be a
gonna
lot of
great
people in
for
town.
businesses.
Yeah.
I mean, 6,000 people got to stay somewhere. They got to eat.
I know. That's a lot of people. I didn't realize softball was like so popular.
Yeah, it's a huge,
yeah,
there's teams all over in all the cities all across the country. So, yeah, it'll be great. Otherwise,
Cool.
weather-wise, we're looking pretty good. Few people might see a few showers on and off today, but for the most part, we're going to be great. Low 80s, but the heat returns next week. We're back into the 90s.
That's what Justin was saying. And there's a eclipse tonight, too.
Yes.
So there could
Yes,
be
if
a
you're up late.
red pinkish hue around the moon.
Yeah.
Look up to the sky.
See ya.
Alrighty, that does it. Bye.